kept getting inspired. And for some reason, that inspiration is taking me to study things. And
Yeah.
then I realized that's probably more interesting than to produce something because we have to produce.
Yeah.
It's like I am beginning to define areas that I am really interested in working.
Yes.
You know, and for some strange reason, the discipline is coming back because one of the ideas of the assesses is that you support yourself in the steps of the discipline.
Recreate
Hmm?
them. You recreate.
Right. Well, but also the assesses you can support yourself with the
yeah.
registers.
Some steps.
And then I
Some
realized I
steps.
have zero register of the third quarter.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of register of the first two quarters. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna start working with this.
Yeah.
Well, that
With
number
what I
eight's pretty tricky.
Huh?
Number eight's a pretty tricky step
Well,
when you somersault into the
Exactly. Into I kind of
acrobatics.
understand that, but to be honest, for example, I really got down before the first quarter. So
Yeah.
I know the mechanism of identification. I know, the illusion. I understand. But the fifth is
The
where
memory?
we discover the mental form in
Yeah.
the discipline. And then I felt really compelled to study about the mental form and about
Yeah.
the relational thinking and about what Silo meant, because he says with all the words, you have to replace the mental form you have with a new one.
Which is the interest.
That is the work that we do. That's exactly why I picked on that chat. That is the landscape of formation and the purpose, because we have a landscape of formation and we have a reverie nucleus, and we want to change the landscape of formation with a different one and the reverie nucleus with a different one. Yeah? That is a hardcore attempt because it's not we don't go against it. That's what I discovered. You begin to develop something parallel. And there is a reverie nucleus, and then suddenly you see the reverie nucleus in action, Oh, I'm going to be left out. Oh, yeah, okay, fine. And then the other one pushes, and they said, no, I'm going to make a connection. You see, my attitudes in life, my conduct, my reveries begin to
Fears.
change, actually change. I used to have dreams that I don't have anymore. Now I'm dreaming about other things, So I noticed that there is a change, and so that led me to investigate more, and
Yeah.
then I realized probably that's a much better departure, much
Yes,
better base to do productions.
Can I make a comment about
Sure.
following on with that too?
Yeah.
That sometimes we only think of productions as these long monographs
Yeah.
with footnotes and all that, but
Exactly.
but you can do an experience report, which
That's
is really
right.
what you're talking about, and that is a very valid production.
Yeah.
You know that a lot of people do. It's not doesn't have to be that long. It
No.
can be quite short actually, and it is a valuable contribution.
Right. Right.
Could be a monography, which is a more complex
Much
one.
complex.
Yeah.
Could be a contribution.
Yes.
Could be
An experience.
Experience
yes,
report.
experience, and stuff. I want to say something about the step fifth. Because see, the mental form, we understand it. It has different levels, and the levels are up to the ultimate level. Is all the landscape of formation that we can change. The ultimate mental form is the structure consciousness world,
Yeah.
and we cannot change that. The only place where we can escape that, because he says that's not only valid for human life, it's valid for all life in the universe.
All consciousness.
It's an act and an object. You can't break that. So, where you can break it, I was thinking, well, where can you surprise? Well, I read this somewhere. This stuff is no, because that's a communication we have, and doesn't break the
Oh, you mean
the ultimate
No, no,
act.
no. Yeah, yeah. No,
So
I
you can
agree.
break
Then.
it except if you go into the profound. Because you go to another
The mental world, right?
right.
That I was reading
exactly.
earlier.
You go there, this is another space, another
Yeah.
and there is no consciousness there.
No.
That's why you don't remember anything. Therefore there is no act object. That's the only place where you can break it. But it's the ultimate, no?
Yeah.
Before the act object or world consciousness world, which is an structure, indestructible structure here in this world, we have all this stuff of the rubber nucleus, of the landscape of formation that we can change. But you get to the ultimate point, which is, well, you solve all that. Of course, probably you are in another level of consciousness, and I see that this consciousness cannot separate from the world. There's no separation.
Like trying to break out of a jail you don't know
You
you're in.
can't. You can't. You can't. There's no way to get out of that thing, except that you get into the something else.
That's what Charles was saying, right? You run out of objects.
Yeah.
You've got to run out of objects in the end and just have a pure act.
You have to. Right. Well, you have to
Yeah.
do it in another
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, you do.
Another time.
Like my chariot, you've got to go through the
Hey,
those
Are you taking it
gates.
off?
No, here you
I
can.
just got to get out of the heat.
Right.
Well, I don't know if
I don't know if you're going to get out of it out there. It's
no, I'm gonna go with it.
I wanted to say one last thing. Well, one thing about productions too. John Swindon talked to me about this just a couple weeks ago. He called me for something completely unrelated, but he said, "Well, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I was thinking about starting to write because I just really haven't done that." I said, "But gosh, I don't know. I'm kind of like going through the cloud of unknowing and not knowing." And he said, "You know what CeeLo told Pia?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, Pia was talking to him about doing manuscripts and all that, and should she do it or whatever?" And he said, "Pia, it's just really important that people start writing. It doesn't have to be an enormous contribution. It can be something." He said, "But it's important because then you put yourself in the frequency."
And also you clear yourself.
Yeah.
Mark Twain said, "You don't understand something unless you can explain it simply to others."
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And the productions, I see it as sort of like that, being able to put it in your own words, your experience, in a way you can tell somebody else who hasn't. It's a way of conveying experience in a way.
Agree.
I think. I don't know. I haven't done mine, but
Well, it's interesting because I did that experience report, the Golden Thread.
Yes.
That's an experience report?
Yeah, it's my experience
Yeah.
with
With the- right.
working with the poetic form to.
Yeah. Okay, I thought it was more of like a monography.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I put in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's an experience, and it was Robbie's wife who
Rosita.
Rosita. When Rosita and Robbie came here, she
Picked on that one.
really pushed me to do it.
Yeah.
We put it on the website,
Right.
and then it's like 7 years ago I did that, right?
Yes.
I just get messages from different people. Hey, they put your experience report in the Punta de Vacas
Yeah.
You have
list.
no idea.
I just read it.
Mm.
Congratulations! I love. It was great.
Wow.
Out of the blue. So,
Wow.
so Dario sent me Tito, quite a few people. So for that, we should not. We should do it, because we don't know how it's going
we
to
should-
impact
Where
others.
is gonna-
with
Stop
it.
censoring.
Where it's going to end up? Where's it going to end up?
I don't know.
No
how to
more
write now.
self-censorship.
Doesn't matter.
No, right?
We have one coming out before July 4th, right?
Yes.
1K. One what?
We have a contribution
contribution.
coming
I committed
Oh,
myself
with
to
a hard
that.
deadline.
For the third. About
Did
the
you get
third
manipulated?
Chapter.
Oh yeah.
About the third chapter.
No, the 3 chapters have finished. I haven't finished it. Good.
About the third chapter of the inner look.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, about the,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and it's 3 parts. First part is finished. I have to translate it into English. That's
Let Google do it.
Then, yeah, but then I have to correct it.
No,
Yeah,
I
because
correct.
sometimes.
You can get help.
And then the second part is the most difficult one to do some more compilations of Silos talks. And I have to order in a way that coincide with the theme. There are different themes, right? Phrases there. You know, all the 12 phrases that are in that chapter. So I want to put comments that he made directly or indirectly on those phrases. And the third part is just an annex about the theory of the action and ethical,
Existential ethics.
existential ethics. But I say, well, maybe there's too much and not
Maybe not.
connected,
Yeah.
right? Theory of action could be, because it talks about the justification of the action, basically. All actions that we make have no justification, not even in the register. So it's an interesting topic. So yeah, I'll finish probably before July.
Fantastic.
Thank you for
Of
saying that.
course, of course.
Can we just give? Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
No,
Well, by the way, we'll have a little
Um,
inauguration birthday celebration
Yeah.
and to inaugurate it. Why not?
Arturo just got my. Here he is, Arturo.